Hi everybody! Welcome to A Case of the Jills. So I haven't done an FAQ in a while and I have been getting really great questions from all of you. I decided that today I would hit at least 4 of those questions. Let's just jump right in today. The first question I'm going to talk about is one that I get very often. The question has to do with BMI. Most of you know that BMI means body mass index. It's actually a weight to height ratio, and it is supposed to be used as some kind of indicator of whether a person is underweight, overweight, or approaching obesity. I'm not going to get into a discussion of whether or not this number really means anything anyway, but what I am going to do is address the question I normally get, which is, I have heard that you need to get to a body mass index of 22 or 23 in order to recover. Is this true? Of course, let's remember, I'm not a doctor, I'm not a scientist. I just play one on TV. I'm not even that. But I do know the following. So according to the BMI charts, about 18.5 and below is considered underweight, and about 25 or above is considered overweight. So 23 or 22, it's not really like a magic number. It's literally just the middle of those two numbers. I have a hard time thinking that it's like magical just because I have heard women get their period back in every BMI there is. I have never heard of someone get their period back in a BMI that is considered underweight, but I can tell you that I've heard every other number on the scale, all the way up even to 26. So do I think you need to hit a magic number? No, I do not. Do I think that most women fall into the average of 22, 23? Yeah, that's why it's an average. But don't get caught up in the numbers. In my opinion, everyone is going to be at a different place when they get their period back, and that is okay. Don't judge yourself by others. That's where you get into trouble, and you know it. The second question I'm going to talk about today is how to know when to eat and how to know when to eat more. This question is super interesting because I think it really depends on where you come from to know how to approach this. Now, for the endurance athlete women, you're actually trained to notice hunger. So as an ultramarathoner, I would go out running and obviously need to take fuel with me. And I would be sort of trained, as it were, to understand what are the physical things that are happening to me, what are the sort of mental things that are happening to me to let me know that I need to add some fuel. I need to fuel up. I need to take a gel or I need to eat something in order to keep going. Endurance athletes have an understanding of the physical and psychological manifestations of hunger, or if you want to just say, a decrease of energy. For me, I know that it was like, I would feel lightheaded, I would feel a little bit like foggy in my brain, I might start tripping. Of course, when you're running, you seldom feel like belly hunger, you seldom get belly rumbles, but sometimes it's those other sort of like visual or trouble kind of putting thoughts together or even speaking that let you know that you need to add some calories. On the other hand, those of you who come from a bodybuilding background, it seems to me, are actually trained to ignore hunger. You're put on such strict diet plans that it seems that the main goal is to avoid or ignore that feeling of hunger because it's pretty much inevitable. This makes things much more difficult. So for the endurance athletes, I would say, try to think about those things that made you feel hunger or made you know that you needed fuel before and go with that. When you start to feel depleted of energy, go ahead and eat something. That's a clear signal. For those of you who come from the bodybuilding world, try to tune into those sensations of hunger that you spent a lot of time trying not to think about and act on them. I actually had one bodybuilder describe it to me like watering a garden. Basically, your hunger cues are like tiny little flowers, and the more food they get, the more they grow. I kind of like that idea. So the idea behind that is basically that you have to eat in order to feel hungry, and that will perpetuate more hunger. So then the question becomes for both groups, how do I know I have to eat more? Okay, this is understandable as well. You're trying to decide, have I had enough food for today, or do I need to add more food? This is when we start talking about food cravings and food thoughts. Food cravings are really specific. It's like, I want pizza. I want chocolate. There's really no room for discussion or interpretation. I happen to think that food cravings are really helpful because I know that when I'm craving sugary things or very sweet things, for me that's an indicator that I need to add more calories. Like that just straight up is telling me my body is craving nutrient dense foods because foods with lots of sugar tend to be nutrient dense, and my brain knows that, and it wants that. It's telling me I need calories, I need fuel. This is really great information, and if you're a person who suffers with not knowing their hunger cues, as soon as you get a food craving, act on it. Food thoughts for me are a little bit different. They're non-specific. And here's how I can sort of explain how it works for me. So sometimes I'll eat dinner and then I'll be like hanging out after that, watching a movie or doing whatever, and my mind is wandering and I'm thinking like, oh man, I would love to have a piece of fruit, or maybe I'd like to have, a snack, or gosh, that cake looked really good that I saw earlier today. It's just like non-specific food thoughts are popping into my head. For me, that means get up and have a snack. Every time I do this, I eat something, I feel really good about it, and then it kind of makes me know, wow, I guess my body sort of needed that. And again, when your hunger cues are kind of messed up and you're not really sure how much you're eating or if you're not eating enough, that's a pretty clear sign that your body's asking you for food. So in either case, food cravings or food thoughts, like go ahead and eat. The third question I get very often is a question that sort of mentions an alternative kind of healing therapy that someone has heard about, and they ask me what my opinion is on it. I've had people ask me questions about things like herbal supplements, different kinds of teas, acupuncture, things like horny goat weed, and yes, I've actually even had someone ask me about vaginal steaming. Okay. Where do I start with this one? I don't have personal experience with any of the aforementioned treatments. I will say this. Our number one goal when recovering from hypothalamic amenorrhea is to exercise less and eat more. That being said, we also want to get our stress hormones down. And if any of those aforementioned therapies make you feel less stress, then you should go for it. If having lavender scented labia puts you in your happy place, by all means, steam it out. You can also try some of the more conventional stress relievers like meditation, petting your dog, a nice massage, a walk outside, sex, or my personal favorite, a glass of wine. I'm sort of being silly here, but the truth is that hypothalamic amenorrhea is the easiest, hardest thing to fix. The reason why is because it really requires that you make the changes of decreasing or stopping exercise and increasing your calories. Chances are you can avoid spending a lot of money unnecessarily on things that aren't going to help you as much as rest and food will. Question 4 is one that I get sometimes with girls that have a fitness background. They say that they feel as though they should decrease their exercise slowly and increase their calories slowly because they feel as though it will be easier for their body to process the changes. I think this comes out of the bodybuilding concept of dieting down and then reverse dieting, let's say after a competition. Our bodies are a lot more adaptable than we think. That's kind of what got us into this mess. So to answer this question, I have another question. Don't you hate that? If you had the worst sinus infection of your life and your doctor had to put you on medication, antibiotics, in order for you to get better, would you want to slowly take those antibiotics so that your body could adjust to the treatment? Or would you just want to knock that sinus infection out as fast as possible? I know what I would choose. I would want to get better immediately. Right now with hypothalamic amenorrhea, rest and food are your medication. So give your body what it needs, right? Is it trite for me to say just do it? Just do it. Hey, so I know you want to help me get 1,000 subscribers by the end of August. Once I get those 1,000 subscribers, I'm going to do 2 things. I'm going to do a live Q&A here on YouTube, and I'm also going to do a giveaway over on Instagram. I want to thank you guys for your support, and I feel like the giveaway is a great way to do that. You can follow me on Instagram at acaseofthejills. You can go to the website, acaseofthejills.com, and check out all the videos and other blog posts. You can email me anytime, acaseofthejills@gmail.com. Please subscribe. Hit that thing right there, that button. Hit that button. Go ahead and leave me questions below that you'd like me to answer in the next FAQ. I promise to keep them going a little more regularly than I have been. I really hope that you guys have a wonderful 4th of July weekend, and I will see you soon.